colleagues here, so welcome everybody. As you probably know, this is section 2 of the CercleS conference, Learners and Their Environment, Interactions, Roles and Strategies. And the following presentation is going to be given by our dear colleagues from the Škoda Auto University in Mladá Boleslav, Pavlína, Příbramská, and Dagmar Sieglová. Pavlína is the head of the language department at the Škoda Auto University. Dagmar Sieglová is an assistant professor at the Škoda Auto University with a lot of experience of all sorts of things. And what they are going to talk about this afternoon is their results from research conducted with students who completed their internship abroad, and I'm really looking forward to their presentation because I'm sure they've got lots of practical things to share with us. So the floor is yours and you can start.
Thank you. So why did we choose our topic? We took the privilege to get hands-on information from our students, from their practical experience. But let me start with a story. Once upon a time, there was a company who produced and sold cars. The company was aware of the fact that it's very important to connect the professional life and also the academic sphere. For young people, better to be prepared for their future career. 20 years ago, this company established our university. So here we are today. We are a private institution founded by a multinational industrial company, Škoda Auto, offering students internationally and nationally accredited business administration programs. What is unique at our university? We require from our students to interrupt their studies by taking mandatory internship in their 5th semester of the bachelor degree studies. It is very important for them, and they can take the opportunities to choose to work in companies in the Czech Republic or abroad within the Volkswagen Group concern. Some of the best students, they can work in companies such as Porsche, Bentley, or Volkswagen. We also offer combined form of studies, but to better balance the work and study, last year we also introduced a study and work program. So the purpose of our research is to look into and to investigate the potential of working experience abroad for the students' future academic and professional paths. Over to you.
So maybe you ask how we do it. So this is the research procedure. We actually ask our students to share their stories with us. We are using this method called critical incident technique, which is a traditional qualitative research method that was established for the purpose to study the reasons of job success and failure, and it was adapted in other fields and very recently also education and in the cultural field. You may ask what it is a critical incident. Critical incident is actually any situation that is somewhat significant to somebody's life and results in some degree of personal development. Very briefly said, once you live through this moment, which may be a really short, maybe very like a light, maybe even a small situation, you are no longer the same person. You learn something, you change some behavior, change your way of thinking, change your values, start acting, making decisions differently, and so on. So, how did we do? How do we actually work with data? This is actually a long-term project. We have been working on it for about 3 years, collecting these little stories with like very open area of topical choice, and they write it mainly in a written form. In our business English course, focused on management and motivation. So altogether for this presentation, we worked with 230 stories, written narratives, out of which 38 addressed work experience, and 15 of them working abroad. So we decided to focus on those working abroad, and we invited so far 5 students for a semi-structured interview. And the data that we are actually using for this presentation is being subject to thematic analysis. Meaning we are searching for patterns, common themes, or maybe key moments that the students shared with us. Based on that, we can divide our data into 2 sections. And we even use one of the quotations we got from our students. Now, for the purpose of our presentation today, we left them in Czech, even for the sake of precision. But of course, I will translate. We don't need to read them if you are not a Czech speaker. And there will be too many of them, so don't just feel free not to read them. I will translate, and for our paper, of course, we will translate them in English. Okay, so we have 2 categories of results. Yeah, you can divide it into career and personal life experience. Okay, so let's start with career. That's my part. Okay. Of course, the students learn professional skills. It may sound logical, right? But the students confirm, and even the fact that they got through the recruitment process, getting the internship abroad, which is kind of a competitive thing, means they already are able to write a competitive CV or cover letter and present themselves through an job interview. But they also share with us all sorts of experience of gaining skills on the spot. Technical, okay, IT, business skills, and of course a lot of soft skills. And for this I wish maybe just point out one of the stories. And it is a student who was mentioning about his moment of change with time management. He said, like, when I went there, I had really bad time management, like teenagers and young people have, yeah? And he said, like, but at a certain moment, I had to tell my boss in his eyes that I am not finished. And that was the moment it clicked. And I realized I had to, and I did change my time management habits, yeah? So that's an example how they get through the revelatory moment. Changing their attitudes. Of course, they learn communication skills. That also sounds logical, right? They learn language. They speak about like learning a lot of technical or professional vocabulary. Of course, because they are on various spots, they learn a local accent. They improve their listening skills. Many of them speak about changing their attitude to Brno, which is really interesting. They say we stop caring about making mistakes because we realize they are not interested in them. One of the students even said, like, I asked my colleague to correct my mistakes because they say when I went there, I expected them to correct my mistakes. But all of the students actually told us nobody corrected them. And this one student actually even said, like, I asked my colleague to correct my mistakes and she told me she would not do it. Because she felt it was embarrassing for both sides. Yeah, for her and for him as well. Yeah. And I also point out the interactional skills, because interactional skills, they go farther than language, yeah? And for that, we have another story. A student presenting results of his team to high management of the company forgets an expression. And there is a Slovak guy sitting there, so he asks in Czech for the expression. At the end of the presentation, of the meeting, he said the colleagues came and commented on this, that it was inappropriate. And his boss told him that it was inappropriate and unpleasant to colleagues to speak a language they don't know. Yeah. So besides language, they also learn norms, yeah, grammatics, and so on. And language, improving language, of course, gives them an extra opportunity. Yeah. And they prove it. They say, when I returned, went for an interview, they told me they want my language skills. Even one student, she said, I got a job at the HR department thanks to my language skills. But not only that, I got a job assessing other people's or candidates' language skills. Yeah? So it gives them more opportunities, more flexibility, more freedom. An interesting thing is gaining unique know-how. Because like as Pavlína mentioned, many of the students take advantage of the Volkswagen group and get a job within this area. And they return back to the Škoda Auto company, and they have this kind of comparison. They say, I was in a logistics department, and when I returned, I realized that logistics department there does something different, what logistics department does not here. They do what sales department. So they are getting attractive for the potential employer back in the Czech Republic. And they also even say, like, when we are at the interview, they spend talking about my experience from abroad. So definitely unique know-how being attractive to an employer. A very interesting thing is, we also noticed that the students, when they work abroad, get more responsibilities than students who stay within the Czech Republic. Like this discourse among students, they say, like, in the Czech Republic, if you stay in the Czech Republic, you do copy or assistance. But the students told us a lot of very interesting stories. Like two of the students told us, my boss came one day telling me he was leaving for vacation, you can do my job. And they said, like, I felt such a pressure of responsibility because like I felt like if I do a mistake, I stop production. Yeah. So and they also say they were in a Brexit preparation team. They were in a negotiation with suppliers and so on and so on. So it seems that they get more trust once they get this kind of an internship, which is more prestigious than others. And at the same time, and this is really interesting, they are kind of protected by their student status. Even the students who said, like, you left for vacation, let me there, said, you can do it, it's no problem. And he said, like, I was convinced that even if I make a mistake, they would probably excuse, because they kind of expect, they know they are handling their responsibilities to students with no experience. Yeah. So the protection, so they can learn through mistakes, because mistakes do not have such consequences than if they were in a normal working life. Okay. The students also mentioned that they clarify their priorities, yeah, and or we noticed in their narratives. One of the students said, I realized I want to stay in logistics. I love logistics, and I actually confirmed that it is my field. Another student said, when I went there, I really was attracted by product management. And I love product management, but what I actually realized was that I noticed that it means a lot of travel, and I actually travel enough, I have enough traveling opportunities. I feel like I want to have a more stable job. So when she returned, she changed the area of her profession. Okay? And they grow ambitions, because once they get through this internship, they accomplish a lot of things. Yeah? And they say, like, this made me actually very ambitious. One of the students also shared with us this kind of she said, like, when I returned, I noticed that I started studying more carefully, putting more effort into my studies and work. Yeah. And they also developed very important international social network. They say, like, all of them actually said, I've been in contact with my colleagues ever since then. They say, I believe if I want to get a position abroad, I can turn to many people. Yeah? One of the students said, actually, my boss is talking me into returning after my studies. Yeah? So they are empowering also their CV. Yeah? Because they have references. And they are aware of it. They say, like, this experience shines in our CV. Yeah? They say, when I am at a job interview, they look at this, and I already said that. Yeah? So empowering their CV is I would say the last part of the last outcome of the career-related findings. Now I'll turn floor to Pavlína, and she will tell you about personal.
Okay, thank you. Okay, of course the students matured, they grew. They have to deal with different traveling issues. They have to book their accommodation. I'm not saying that they are not dealing with this issue at home, but what's the main difference? That they are there without their parents, without their friends. They could help them to deal and to solve those issues. So this is very different environment. To have parents far away, maybe on the phone, but not there in person. It is not surprising that they also talked about the expansion of their comfort zone. They have to really take their responsibility, the independence, or their independence grew, changed. One of the students told us or mentioned it and formulated it nicely. She mentioned, I'm not afraid of things that I used to be afraid of, which I think it's a big difference. It's a big development, personal development for this girl. She really looks at things differently, without stress. Also, we have another story with a language. There was a boy, and he experienced different situations. He had to face new situations, and he was silent. He really, at first, he avoided the communication because he was afraid of it. But then he overcame his fear, and then he started to communicate because he thought he would have to start to do it sooner or later anyway. Another aspect is the personal issues we were looking at, and which contributes to the expansion of comfort zone. It was diversity. A lot of students had to face differences, different mentality, different opinions, and different culture. They really had to learn how to be tolerant to those differences. That is not wrong, it's only that people behave differently. They also had to experience variety of working styles, and also expand their general knowledge, which further develop their critical thinking. What we noticed that they didn't only gain new knowledge, new information, but they started to be interested, or they started putting those gained information and knowledge into context. It looks that they started to be interested in social aspects as well. They gain new opinions, and they also compare related to the historical and geographical facts in the foreign country. Okay, quickly. Of course, all of this contributes to their boosted self-confidence. We are not talking about arrogant one, but we are really talking about something valuable, something that, as one of the students mentioned, I think that I have achieved something that not many people have ever achieved themselves. So he really appreciated that. Okay, so it brings me to the last personal issue that was connected with the relationship. A lot of students told us that they had to clarify their relations with their friends, with their parents. They also had to clarify their values. Even though some of the relationships lasted, some of them not, but they mentioned they do not or they didn't regret.
Okay, let me just sum up. Yeah. So conclusions. Yeah. First of all, students expand their professional skills. They get unique know-how and they get more attractive for others. Second, they enhance their communication skills, interpersonal skills, intercultural skills, and so on. Okay. At the same time, they're protected by student status. It means they are learning from mistakes. They can also clarify their profession and they grow their ambitions. They build social networks and empower their professional profile. They get independent, self-confident. They grow their self-esteem. They're more resilient. Yeah? They're more mature. And they're also open-minded and maybe compassionate and maybe even responsible citizens because they get interested in social issues much more involved in what's going on in society. Now, if we look at the conclusions and compare it to educational strategic documents, you find something called 21st century skills. Yeah, which more or less matches with what the students learn throughout their working internship abroad especially. Yeah? Which means, and that's our probably main conclusion, it is very important to think about ways how to connect academia with professional life, to provide students with opportunities to learn and gain experience throughout their studies. Like maybe the speaker before us had there, like student frustrated not getting a job, an employer frustrated student not having experience. And he's not getting experience because there is no job and so on and so on. Yeah? Okay, so thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Pavlína and Dagmar. Thank you for sharing your research results with us. And I think the students' own words is one of the most valuable things that we can hear. And students telling us about the real world is what I think we should do regularly, or listen to them. It's one of the things we should do regularly. I would like to start a discussion, so questions from you, from the audience. Who would like to start? Okay.
I was wondering, how do you organize these internships? This is very unique. You mentioned Bentley and companies like this. So is it based on the professional contacts provided by Skoda, or how do you guys get there in the first place?
Yeah, the students have to take the internship.
Yes,
they can do
any.
They can do any. But of course, because we have closer cooperation partner companies and so on, and there is this Volkswagen group, which is I think 13 companies or something. So the students, of course, take advantage of that. There is no any kind of a binding relationship between the school, the students, the school and the company, meaning that the company would have to take the students and the students would have to take internship within the company. But of course the company is taking advantage, and the best students get very quickly good positions, yeah? And the most like ambitious and the most successful ones get the most prestigious, yeah? So
the students do it themselves, they organize their,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
no,
Okay. Sorry, so I'm from the same institution.
You
but
there.
I'm in that institution as well. So in charge of that part of my job. So the students are responsible for the internship organized within the Czech Republic. If they want to organize, if they want to apply for a prestigious internship as such as Bentley, Skoda UK, Volkswagen UK, Volkswagen, Skoda Deutschland, Auto Deutschland, Audi, or SEAT, and the others. So it goes through the international department in cooperation with the companies. And we started that relationship in 2002, it's just 2 years after we get the government's approval and the first accreditation. So in 2002, we sent 2 students to Bentley. And nowadays, unfortunately, thanks to COVID, we had to interrupt. It is some 16 to 18 students per year, minimum of 6 months each, usually longer. And based on that great cooperation with Bentley and the other solvency companies, so we established the same relationship with, for example, Porsche. When they asked us, it was their initiative, that they really liked that concept of cooperation. So the companies, let's say, are proactive in that. And what is more, so we collect the students' applications, their CVs, and cover letters, and the companies organize their own interviews and selection procedure. And before COVID, okay, so the Bentley people and Porsche people came to our school. They had 2 days of workshops, lectures, and then they organized interviews with the students and they selected them for the upcoming year.
I would even add that even not getting the internship is helping the students to accelerate their professional skills, yeah? Because they have to write a CV, they may not succeed, but they are already pushed to try to compete.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for expanding on this and for giving us a bigger picture. Okay, more questions?
I was actually pleased with the roundtable because we had people from IBM is also our partner. There was a person from IBM and there was a person from Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's companies where our students also get the internship
Great. Okay.
placements. Yeah.
Okay, we don't seem to have questions online, well, and our time is almost up anyway, so thank you very much again, dear colleagues, and